Welcome back to Po Community for Justice. I'm Apostle Cecil Hatchett, and I'm talking to all you wonderful people out there in cyberspace. And today, my wonderful guest will be Brother Steve. I'll be coming on today, and we'll be covering, speaking about the, what is the different outfits that people wear, Brother Steve? And Brother Steve is here, and he'll be speaking to you wonderful people about what me and Brother Broussard talked about 3 weeks ago. But he'll be telling you about the different outfits that people wear. So would you be able to share with me about the different stuff that people wear? I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, so you and Broussard were talking a bit about the different costumes or traditional dress that different religions have. So I did a little bit of research into it.
Great.
And you'll find out that there are different dress that are traditional to different countries and culture.
Okay.
You'll find out that different religions have traditional dress,
Okay.
not just one. And sometimes it may be costume for a special event.
Yes.
The same way we traditionally put on tails and suits and cocktail dresses for a party or something. Different cultures will have different dress to do that. So, you know, if you look at the Islamic religion, Muslims, they will often cover up as part of their tradition.
Yes.
Some of the countries, it's cultural.
Yes.
Whether you're the religion or not, you may cover up. But you will also find the same thing. If you ever go to a traditional kibbutz in Israel with traditional Jewish people,
Yes.
you will find out that they cover also.
Oh, wonderful.
You know, they cover their arms, their legs. Their hands will be open, and often they're wearing either a full scarf or a partial scarf on their heads. You know, if you ever travel to subcontinent Asia, India, Bangladesh,
Okay.
the women wear what they call saris and Punjabis. Please excuse me if I said that wrong. But basically, they're going to cover up totally, depending on, they have a choice of how much they want to cover up, but they'll wrap up and they'll even have scarves on their head and cover
Yes.
up totally. You know, I've never been too bothered by it. I was raised in the Catholic Church, and I go back to my elementary days when the nuns were totally covered, just their face was showing.
That's true. That's
So,
very
you
true.
know, when I traveled and when I see people in different costumes or different traditional dress, it doesn't really bother me because, you know, I grew up seeing nuns dressed that way, even
That's
though
true.
they've changed over the years. So, you know, we have to realize that, you know, it could be for a number of different reasons that you will see people out. You know, we live in Portland. There's always cultural events going on. They may be on their way to a cultural event, so they're dressed in their cultural attire.
Yes.
You know, and things like that. And just because someone is covered up does not necessarily mean that they are of a specific religion, because you have more religions that actually do that traditionally.
Yes.
You know, even here in the United States, we have the Quakers who, you know, they basically has kept their dress the same over the ages.
That's true.
And the women dress very modestly, the men dress a certain way also. So, you know, when we're out about and we see different cultures and people dressed in different ways, it's very important that we realize that these are traditions within their culture, maybe, the country they're from. It's a tradition within their religion, and that could be multiple different religions have those traditions in them. And you know, it's, you know, I'm a Christian, Catholic, you know, and I would say you don't judge people by how they look.
And that's very true. And why I want to speak to you, Brother Steve, is because when me and Brother Bruce Broussard was speaking, we were making reference that a gentleman got on the bus, paid his fare, got on the bus, and he was railing on these two women. One was a black woman, and one was, I don't know what her race was, but one was dressed in Javis or whatever she was dressed in. And I just wanted someone more to articulate on people shouldn't be attacked or harassed because of the way they dress or how they look.
Yeah.
And you had offered knowledge regarding this.
I wish I had brought some photos I could have showed you maybe another time. I'll do a little bit more research. You know,
Yes.
I had some notes, but I wasn't expecting to come talk to you today, but we live in a country where we're a multicultural society.
Yes.
And we're going to have people dressing in different ways because they may be on their way to a religious function. It could be a cultural function. It could be a multicultural function where everybody is representing their culture and they're dressed a certain way. And so it's really important to understand that, you should not be judging people by how they're dressed. If anything, you should appreciate the dynamics and the colors and
that's true.
The fact that people dress that way. And sometimes it's simple modesty.
And that's very true.
Some women are very modest about how they dress. They don't want to show their legs or their arms, and you have to respect that.
That's correct. That's correct.
And that's not limited to cultures. I think every culture has modest women in it. So
yes.
So not that there's unmodest women, but
yeah, that's true.
But we have to begin to understand, and I'm hoping that by explaining this and getting people to understand that it's not limited to one culture, one religion, that there's religions and cultures all around the world where people will dress much more conservatively or much more modestly, and you cannot assume anything about anybody based on the way they're dressed.
And that's very true. And what we were speaking on it, this gentleman got on the bus and he was cussing them out and saying horrible things to them, and then when it came time, because a confrontation ensued behind the bad language and behind a physical confrontation ensued, and this gentleman that got on the bus or on the TriMet and killed two innocent people that tried to intervene and try to help the ladies or come in their behalf, and two individuals were murdered, and of course Brother Broussard made a reference to that this guy could have mental health problem, but who cares? I just want justice to be served and him to do whatever amount of time that's going to be served him for the bad behavior that he tried to inflict on people that were just minding their own business, paid the same bus fare or train fare to ride on the train to get them to point A to point B, and then these two murders ensued, or a third person was almost killed, but two individuals were killed. One was a soldier, a white gentleman that he intervened because he loves this country, and he made reference to the issue and regarding wanting this guy to address the situation, and I believe it was a black man that was killed trying to help to resolve the matter, and so we got two deaths for nothing because somebody came with a horrible attitude because he was thinking that these women was representing something negative, and he should have been dealing with it from a positive standpoint, and he shouldn't have been on the train in the first place if he was coming with that attitude and with a weapon to further his cause. And so there's like premeditated murder if you are gonna hurt or injure someone because you're trying to carry out your view all the way to murder. And this is what I thought the individual had done, because it was a conversation that he had applied to a conversation that had nothing to do with him, and then took it to such an extreme level that two adult individuals had chimed in, or more than two, but three had chimed in, and two were killed and one was almost killed. So it's just showing you how people will get on the MAX train or any public transportation and bring a bad attitude with them and hurt and injure people or hurt and kill people, and that's horrible. So I was just very happy that you were sharing this information with us and with all the people to say you're got such a broad understanding to many things, because again, you went to Catholic school and I did as well, and I grew up back when I was going as a young man that women were very modest in their dress and being Catholic. So and that was just expected, and nobody was mad about that, and that's the way it should be even to this day in the year 2017.
Yeah, I consider myself an educator, and I just want people to understand, that you can't make assumptions about people. If you're curious, find out. We live in an age where you can find out good information on anything you're curious about, and then your opinions can form from a perspective of fact and information, and not based upon the opinions of others or the rhetoric of others. I think it's important for people to take the time out to form their own opinions about things, do some research. If you ever have questions you want me to research, I'll research, and I'll give you some facts. I told you and Broussard that that's something I like doing.
Yeah,
it's helped me to understand a lot of different things, why they happen a certain way, because I've taken the time out to try to go beyond just what's in front of me and see what's behind it, what the research is behind it, what the information is behind it. It's something that I just want to share with people whenever I can. And if you need me to do the legwork, Cecil, I'll do the legwork to bring you that perspective.
I greatly appreciate that.
I learned some things about this. I have some experience in some of the other countries, so I've seen how people dress.
Yes.
I live here in Portland, and I've traveled to different communities, and I've seen, if you ever travel on the Sabbath or you travel on Sunday, you're going to see a different dress code
that's true.
on the street than you would normally notice at any other time. So, it's very important to realize that and to take that into consideration whenever you encounter anybody on the streets or in the subway or and ask questions. If you're curious about why someone's dressed a certain way, ask questions. You might be surprised. It may not be why you think.
And that's true. And sometime I try and invite all people to come on this show. Povo Community for Justice. The invitation is an open invitation to anybody and everybody. And you have wonderful people like yourself, Brother Steve, that'll bring enlightenment to people because you're an educator, and it's just fantastic. All the great things you do, because he works on many different shows. He helps on my show, and he helps on a show that was just earlier today, and it's going to be later on this evening. You're going to help work on the show.
I'm an educator, but I have questions, and I encourage my students to ask questions, and so I'm always curious, and so I listen to the things you say on your show.
Thank you.
I listen to the things say on Discover Our Story show. Because I think there's a lot of wisdom in our native cultures that we're not looking at. And whether it's a show about mental issues, there's some wisdom there, there's some knowledge there, there's something to know there. So I stay curious. I'm always telling people, hey, you got a new show? What's it about? Let me work on it so I can kind of, find out something new. I just stay curious like that, and I like asking questions, and I like getting answers.
And I love that. And you have some guests that you're going to be bringing on this show in the future. Which guests are you?
I'm working on a project now. I'm not sure when it will come to fruition. Did I say that right? I'm not sure when it'll be ready, but I'm working with a gentleman who wants to do a historic perspective.
Yes.
There's a character in the history of Lewis and Clark called York, an African American character, and I'm sure his perspective on the trail coming out here is much different. So I have someone who is working on a presentation on that, and we hope to have him on. We're looking at, I'm not sure when this will come about, we're looking into, immigration is a buzzword. It's out there. Everybody's talking about it.
Yes.
So there's also, we wanted to do a perspective on African immigrants.
Absolutely.
That come to the country, what it's like for them. Again, when people take time to learn and understand, they can appreciate, and their perspective on things change. So if we can do anything, if I can do anything to help people understand, I'm not asking people to buy into my opinion. I'm not asking people to believe a certain way. Just have an open mind, listen, learn, and understand. And I think you will find that you yourself, without any sway or propaganda or anything from anybody else, can really find a truth in what's out there and what's happening today.
That's beautiful. And I'm always looking for truth, and I'm trying to spread truth to any and everybody, or get them to come on the show to spread truth. And that I'm seeking, and I'm hoping that people in their heart will come and open themselves up comment and the truth, because that's what life is all about. And a lot of people are just saying woulda, coulda, shoulda, came, gonna come, hopefully to be here, and they're saying they're on their way, or they'll be here pretty soon or next week. But they're making these empty promises or commitments, but they're so accustomed to falling short of their commitments. I'm saying, look, gotta learn to stand strong. I've been doing this for 7 years, and so I'm still waiting for many people to have shown up, and I open the doors to conversation and dialogue. And if they want to be a guest on the show, like this gentleman that's going to be on in the future, maybe you'll possibly come out and interview him, or I'll interview him, or I would appreciate it if you'd interview him, because it'd be so much that he'd want to talk about. And so it's not all about me, it's all about just keeping the conversation going in a positive direction for anybody and everybody. And I just love everybody out there in TV land to be able to get a word in, to speak from their heart.
Yeah, I just came back from a conference in San Antonio, International Society for Technology and Education. Mm-hmm. And stories, telling your story,
yes,
having a voice, is one of the underlying themes.
Yes.
That education will encourage from teachers, will encourage from students.
Yes.
Because it's so important for our society to understand each other, that those stories be told, and that everybody begins to share their voice. You have a platform here, you've opened it up to people, and I encourage people to come on. It's taken me a while to kind of find my voice, and I'm still kind of searching for just what I want that to be, but you're always encouraging me to come and talk to you.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but we all have to find that.
Yes.
And we all have to encourage it. Whether we agree with people or disagree with people, that's okay. It's going to help us understand.
That's better.
Each other a little bit better, and different perspectives that are going on. And I think we're all going to be better off by listening and understanding each other a bit better.
That's right. Especially as human beings, we need to fellowship and communicate and work at trying to be on the same page and travel in the same direction, or for the betterment of each other. And I know I said a lot of different things because I speak about Donald Trump, and I was going to ask you a couple of questions about Donald Trump, but I was going to talk about Donald Trump like a dog, because that's the only way I do it when I'm talking about Donald Trump, because he's done so many ignorant, evil things. And I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions regarding Donald Trump. He's made some commitments to many, many people and not honored them, or not followed through on them, and especially being the president of the United States. But he's tweeting all the time to people, but he's not getting the things done that he's agreeing to have gotten done, or committed his mouth to have gotten done. So he brings up a lot of people like Obama and tries to act like he's the villain, but it's all about trying to always be looking in the opposite direction of themselves, or pointing the finger in the opposite direction of themselves. So do you have anything to say about that?
Well, I'll take your metaphor about pointing your finger. I was told when you point your finger at somebody,
yes,
look, there's 3 of them pointing back at you.
Absolutely.
What can I say? Yeah. on that note there. So, I don't know what's in Donald Trump's heart.
Right.
That's going to be between him and his creator.
Absolutely.
So I'm not gonna judge him on that. But there's certain things, as I watch the political scene and I see what he's going through right now. I think, hey, you're kind of reaping what you sowed. You put it out there, you started it, it's coming back on you.
Absolutely.
We learned that in religion class. In the East they call it karma.
Yes, that's true.
And so it's no big mystery to me why he's having such a hard time right now.
That's true.
It's no big mystery to me at all, because that's what's going on. There are certain things that need to be done for the good of all Americans.
Absolutely.
To me, that's where his focus should be. On the
be.
Things that's going to benefit all Americans.
That's very true.
I can't understand why the work at our infrastructure and jobs was not the priority. To me, that should have been the priority. That, I keep hearing them say win, win, win.
And he committed himself.
That was a win.
Yes, it was.
It would have win all the way around. He could have, his first 100 days could have been a win if that was the focus.
Yes.
But the powers that be decided to focus on other things, which is causing him a hard time.
That's very true.
Congress is having a hard time, and when you have a hard time like that, then you're doing something wrong.
And that's true. That's very true.
You may not think it's wrong based on your philosophy, but things aren't right if you're having a hard time like that, especially the hard time they're having there. So, how can I say? I try to be a compassionate person. I'm not keen on the attitude and some of the techniques that Mr. Trump uses. But I got to respect the fact that he was elected president.
That's true.
But I'm an American. I could disagree.
Yeah, about 100%.
And we have a voice, and we can say that. And he should understand that. He should understand that the media is there to disagree whenever they think they should disagree.
That's true.
And that's just a part of what we are as a country. All presidents have had to deal with it. All presidents get by regardless of it. So the focus to me should be on what you can do productively, and not on how you can battle other people.
Yes, true. That's true.
That's kind of what I look at when I hear things on the news, or I read it in a paper, or I just simply watch him and other politicians speak. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, so what's resonating? You've talked the rhetoric. You've gotten people to believe in you. Now you're going to have to produce, because sooner or later, and I've lived in countries where a popular president has gotten elected,
right,
did not deliver to the people who elected him.
Didn't deliver, yes.
And those people, at a certain point in time, they start holding you accountable.
Absolutely.
They may back you up forever, but there's going to come a point in time where they're going to start holding you accountable. And at that point in time, if you haven't delivered, the rhetoric, the speaking, they're going to start doubting. And then your whole political atmosphere is going to change.
That's very true. That's true.
Again, he's our president. I'm going to assume he's doing what he thinks is right. I don't know what's in his heart. I learned a long time ago, I let God take care of those kind of things.
Absolutely. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's nothing I could do that's going to outdo how the Creator will handle things in the long run.
I agree with you. Yes.
So, I kind of let that go forth. But at the same time, I appreciate people who will speak out, people who have a voice, people who try to keep things on the up and up. I think it's important that we have those people. The press. Regardless of what you think about the press, throughout our history, the press has kept things right. They make mistakes, but when they make mistakes, they do say they make mistakes.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
They do. They make them, but they will retract things.
Yes.
Because they're going to make them. So but if you look at our history, the press has really kept things on the up and up. And they're trying to do, as far as I'm concerned, they're trying to do that now. So we may not agree with them. He doesn't agree with them, but there are things he could be doing that would totally be beyond what the press is doing. There are constructive things he could be doing, and so he should look at doing some of those things. I'm waiting.
And that's what a lot of people are doing.
I'm waiting. Yes. I'm waiting.
Very true.
I would have preferred someone else, but it is what it is.
That's true. He fired the head of the F.B.I. and he's dumping a ton of people.
There's just, but I believe in America. I believe in our system has served us well. I get concerned when I see forces in not only the presidency and the executive branch, but when I see our legislative branch not representing the people as a whole, I get concerned. We were established as a country where it was important that we have two houses in Congress to represent us. Our founding fathers tried to make it equal by giving every state 2 senators and representatives based on the population. But unfortunately, people try to find ways to get around that so that they can have more power for their beliefs. And sooner or later, you end up with a situation where your population is not being represented fully.
Well, I know that when I tried to invite the mayor of Portland, which to come on this show and make reference to the $400 million and where is that money going to, that's what me and Brother Broussard had spoke about a couple of weeks ago. And of course, the mayor never did come on the show, but I've invited many mayors to come on the show. And I've talked bad about them. That's just the way I am. When things don't happen, I expect things to happen. And I want people to understand, a closed mouth don't get fed. So if you don't say nothing or see something, say something. That's the way it goes. Excuse me. So that's what happens. So when I speak negative about Donald Trump or Tramp Trump or worthless Trump, I say these things because he's done many, many things, and I would like to talk about them on TV in the future. I'm bring my ammo back out here, and I'll play some clips regarding Donald Trump and the promises that he's made to build walls and do things to try and close out the other country or the Mexican people, and see how lousy that job is going, and then the job that he's tried to clown old President Obama, and then instead of making money available to old President Obama or try and help Obama's cause, they're trying to pass pass a bill so that to shut Obama's help down. So then we're talking about over 20 million people are going to be without life or without health insurance after the 4th of July or on the 4th of July because they're so busy going nowhere fast. It's just that's what's going on. So I try and suggest to Negro, colored, African American, this is like something that's new. It's something that's been going on, been in the works for a long time. Everybody's trying to ignore it, look in the opposite direction. And that's when I tell people, Negro, colored, black, African Americans, and especially the Negro race, a lot of people try and ignore the fact that there is such a race. But I come from Negro parents. I was born back a long time ago, and my parents had passed, but they were Negroes, or that was their title. And I got relatives that were slaves in the past. So I'm just trying to let people know that people are dealing with human beings that or never did get the promises that were, or the commitments that were made to them fulfilled, or the promises that were made to them fulfilled. People make these empty promises and the empty commitments and pass all these laws, the 13th Amendment and all this other stuff, the 14th Amendment, and it works against us instead of for us as a people. And I just want everybody to know that you just keep on working very hard and moving forward, and quit drinking and doing drugs and getting high or whatever, because the system is set up to destroy you. And it's so sad that you work against yourself or to destroy yourself. So I'm trying to tell people, look, don't be drinking all this alcohol and smoking all this different narcotics or whatever that's available so you can pretend like you're doing great. You can see you're slipping and looking at your life going in reverse. So pay blessed attention. And I'm saying that to the Negro, colored, African Americans, because these are people that sometimes they get proud about, I'm slinging dope and I'm doing all this other crazy stuff, but I'm going to prison for life. The system is set up. Americans have been killing and murdering forever, and now tons of Negroes we only got 6.5 blacks, not talking about 6.5, but 6.5 black Americans, but in prison we got over 200 or 2 million in prisons, and it's sad, and they're doing life because the different people have passed these laws and and justify it, trying to act like these people are destroying people's lives or causing them to use narcotics or causing them to hurt themselves. They're just people trying to make a penny or make a dollar or whatever they're trying to do, and people use that information to say, hey, let's start stopping all the Negro, colored, black, African Americans, and we'll put them in jail. We'll make up a reason to justify putting them in jail or prison. And then people try to act like it's the Mexicans that have come into this country and committed all this havoc, but that's not true. It's Americans that have created all that havoc, trying to destroy the Negro, colored, African American people, and all these different titles that I'm mentioning to you. Is that you thinking that I don't belong to the Negro race, I don't belong to the black race or the colored race or the African American race or whatever titles you want to do, that you're sidestepping the same beat down. That it doesn't make no difference what title you give yourself. It's the same beat down that you're going to eventually be a victim to. So pay attention and quit trying to promote all this alcoholism and all this drugs or prescription drugs that they're giving you, and finding yourself dead or or having died or almost died because you're overdosing or trying to make a pretty penny off using something that will cause people to be high and cause people to think they're feeling good. They're really just working themselves to an early grave. So there's just many evil things that are going on. And I just would you like to make a comment regarding
I think your instincts are correct. One of the things about this information age we live in, and
yes.
I go back to that. That's what I know. I was a technology person as an educator. The facts, the information is coming out.
Okay.
What you said about blacks in prison is coming
right.
out.
Mm-hmm.
There are records that will show that for similar crimes, small crimes, they're being locked up for longer times.
That's correct.
So as this information comes out, it's being exposed in a number of different venues.
Yes.
You're exposing it here.
Absolutely.
There are some TV shows that are very social conscious that are exposing it through their shows. I was
yes.
watching a show the other night where one of the main characters was doing a fundraiser to support bail bonds mm-hmm. for minorities who couldn't afford to do bail,
yes,
and
sure.
were ending up in jail for some misdemeanor
yes,
for long periods of time. So there are programs out there. There are people that are social conscious. We're at a stage now where we have influential African Americans who are using their social consciousness and using their resources to educate people in a number of different ways.
Excellent.
So that's happening,
yes.
And when people take the time out, just like you said, they'll find out that immigrants, Mexican Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, they're not influencing things one way or the other. It's society as a whole.
Right.
Or it's a part of society who is looking at maintaining some structure that we are moving beyond. And they're grasping to hold on to this way of life that we're moving beyond. And so you will see that happening all throughout our culture. But, the information is being recorded.
Right, that's true.
And it's, in our past, history was recorded by certain people, and those people had the power to record it whatever way they wanted to.
Right.
But current history is being recorded by anybody and everybody.
Absolutely.
So the truth comes out.
Right.
You can no longer record history to the benefit of certain people.
That's true.
And so a lot of people who didn't have a voice before are finding a voice now. And they're able to speak and say different perspectives. So, as we record history now, we're going to get different perspectives on things.
That's true.
And as people read about today, they're going to be able to make up their minds based on what they read about the different perspectives people had, what kind of actions people took, why people took those actions. It's a different world now.
And that's very true. That basically what happened when you're dealing with white America, they raised their children on TV or watching TV, and they taught them through TV. And through television, you can raise people any kind of way or destroy their minds or develop their minds. In many cases, people have raised them and developed their minds. And so when it comes to great schools or great educations or things of this nature, many people are trying to get their children the best education. But when you see this movie that I was looking at on television, well, not a movie, but a television show that was on, called Rosewood, and it was well, I don't think it was Rosewood, but whatever it was, the show was it's called Blackish. That's the name of the show, and the lady has a white dad and a black mom, and he explained to his daughter, now that it was grown and was having a fifth child, letting her know that you've always been black, because people let them know that it was just already decided for her that even though he's a white man, he's bringing this black girl to school. People are looking at, what's that all about? But it's just, she's black, and she needs to understand and know that. But she was trying to come to terms with that conversation, and then his dad played that role pretty well, because people were making references that if you got a drop of black blood in you, then you're black. And that's what people use, instead of just saying if your dad is white and your mom is black, or if your dad is black and your mom is white, and then you're black, irregardless. And so that's what throw a lot of people off, and it helps people to learn to understand that these are the situation that we're going through 2017. People still see certain people as being black, but now, again, when you make the statement, Brother Steve, about you find some children that come from black and white parents are really educated or go to school because their parents had gotten a great education and they push a great education. And if they're white, they can take them further, because they say, I'll use my white connections to take you further, to expand your mind, or to want you to go to college or to do better. And then it helps the whole black race, but that person goes forward and do better. But it's a deal that the lady in the movie called, or the show that was called Blackish, she's like a doctor that she's playing her role in, but it was just very interesting. When you look at those TV shows, you see a lot of people have things that they need to talk about, or information to expand people's mind, and sometimes they play it down, and sometimes they lift it up. But that's just what people do.
Yeah, there's I taught some media literacy courses to students, and I would always tell them, so, you have to read between. I was in school. I learned how to read between the lines. When you read between the lines, but nowadays kids have to read between the scenes.
Yes.
And they have to see, okay, what information is really happening here? What is the message that's really being said? What is the producer really trying to say here?
Absolutely.
He's doing it through graphics and animation and acting. But there's something that's being said there, and our kids are smart.
Absolutely, yes, they are.
And they're learning how to read these things. And sometimes they won't express it because it may go against the attitudes or the values of their parents, but they know.
Yes, that's very true.
They know. I find that students really pick up a lot of things, and they may challenge them because of their family beliefs.
Yes.
But at the same time, they've been exposed. So
and that's great.
I always say, you may not agree with something that I've said, or you may not agree with something that's out there, but you can never say nobody ever told you or you didn't know.
That's true.
It's out there, so that cannot be an excuse if it turns out that what you believe is not actually accurate, or where it takes you where you want to go. And we do live in a world now where there are many opportunities. I think we miss some opportunities sometimes, though. I think, especially in the African American community, sometimes we don't recognize opportunities when it comes our way, and we don't take them right away.
That's true.
Fortunate for me, when opportunities came my way, I jumped on them.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
You know,
yes.
and it led to a very good life for me. You know, my parents, you know, were from Louisiana. Both sides of the family was from Louisiana. A mixture.
Okay.
And you know how Louisiana people are.
Yes, yes, I do.
You know,
Yeah.
Creole people. So,
Yes, that's
so
true.
you know,
Yeah.
there's a mixture there. But you know, I can't. You know, I that was me and my personality.
Okay.
You know, between the things that came my way through the church. And,
Yes.
and there's a lot of opportunities in the church. Some of our young people seem to shy away from them, but you know, there are opportunities there. I was able to go places and see things, you know, whether it was camp or school or whatever. You know, there was opportunities there. And then as you get more exposure, you know, you just have to be listening. You know, sometimes we you know, I'm a firm believer in you have a voice and you have something to say,
Yes.
but I do believe there are times you need to listen.
And so you people out there in
You
TV land,
need to listen.
You need to listen.
And you will see opportunities happening around you.
yes, that's
But
very
if you're
true.
not listening, if you're too busy talking, you miss those opportunities.
Absolutely.
You
yes.
know, and so sometimes it's good to just kind of step back, you know, bite your lip, see what somebody has to say,
True.
you know, and see what opportunities occur. Look, you know, when I came here, I was very quiet, you
I
know,
understand. Yes,
and
that's
you gave
true.
me an opportunity to produce a show, so
Yeah,
I
amen.
produced
Yes,
a show, you know.
yes,
So
yes.
that's an example of
And-
how the opportunities come, but you have to kind of sit back and let that happen. You have to not always have an agenda, or not always be pursuing your agenda. But sometimes just listening and wait and see what opportunities come your way that will become a part of your agenda.
That's fantastic.
You know, they're there, they happen, they can come out of nowhere. You know, I've been blessed with lots of opportunities, and some I missed. I was talking too much.
Oh my God. Okay.
You know, but some I didn't, and it's led to a very blessed life for me so far. You know, to a point where, you know, I hope that I can only help other people achieve some of the things they wanted to do. and
Well,
achieve.
I'm very happy because you do travel a lot, and I think that's fantastic. And you've been to some very interesting places. And you were in the military at one time.
No,
You weren't in the military?
I was not. My brothers, both
Oh.
my older brothers were. You know, my story is you know, I grew up in Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles.
Okay.
You know, Boys in the Hood, that territory there, recognized lots of places in
That's
that
where-
movie. You
that's-
know.
that's it, yeah.
You know, I was fortunate enough to go to a Catholic seminary for high school.
Okay.
Kind of gave me a whole different perspective, but at the
Okay.
same time, there was a part of me that said I need to get back to my community, help out my community.
Beautiful.
So when I was in college, you know, I pledged a predominantly black fraternity, Phi Beta
Okay.
Sigma.
Okay.
And, you know, their three programs were education, social action, and bigger and better business. You know, the education and social action resonated with me. I went to work for the YMCA
Yes.
in one of the more challenging areas of Los Angeles,
Okay.
you know, and felt that that's something I needed to do at that time.
That is
You know, I have been
fantastic.
blessed, and I spent some time there. And anybody from Los Angeles, you know, the Crenshaw area, or the area they call the jungle,
Okay.
you know, that's where I was at the YMCA there in Santa Rosalia for about 5 years.
Oh, beautiful.
I worked
Okay.
there and did some work. You know, opportunities came my way.
That's
Next thing I
fantastic.
know, I was doing team sports for all the YMCA's in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's
So,
fantastic.
you know, the Olympics helped out with that. So, you know, again, opportunities came my way. You know, there came a point in time in doing that work that, you know, I felt that I needed to set an example for other young blacks in that community, because some of
Okay.
them never had an opportunity to leave.
That's true.
That it is possible to leave. And I pursued a dream of mine, which was to travel. And another, you know, I was, how can I say, blessed to fall into education.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Because you told me that you've traveled a lot. and
Yeah,
I know
as
that you
a,
travel
you
a
know,
lot. Yes.
you know, again, opportunities
Yes,
come
that's
your way.
fantastic.
And, you know, I put it out there that I was interested in traveling, and I was an educator. And next thing I know, I'm hired to work at one of the international schools overseas. And, you know, my first country was Haiti,
That's
which
beautiful.
was a whole different dynamic and perspective in itself, but one I probably needed.
Okay.
You know, so it's a totally different dynamic being in a predominantly black country.
Okay.
There's a different dynamic being an African American in a predominantly black country.
Yes.
Being an American.
Yes.
You know, in a country like that, and then also the whole educational atmosphere and the things I was able to do there, and that led to 4 more countries, 20-something years overseas.
Oh, fantastic.
Places that I had dreamed about going to, you know, I've been able to travel to. You know, we'll save that for another time.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Yeah. You know, it's you know, from my own experience, you know, just sometimes just sitting back and listening and letting opportunities come your way and picking the right ones.
Yes.
You know, a lot of opportunities that could come your way. You got to pick the right ones. You know, I think sometimes we pick wrong opportunities and they take us down a wrong path. And we need to be very careful of that. But, you know, there are opportunities out there for everyone. You know, just listen.
Okay.
And they'll come your way. You know, some you never even thought about. I never thought I would be sitting here on a TV show.
I love it. Hey, but I'm very happy.
I never thought
here.
I'd be in a studio and be able to produce a show.
Amen. I'm
you know,
very happy.
Something I, you know, dreamed about. I grew up watching TV. I grew up watching movies, you know.
Oh,
so,
I love
you know,
it. Yeah.
I think every kid who was like me wanted to say, oh, I want to make a movie or something like that.
Yes.
So, you know, again, opportunities come your way. And you know, everybody out there, you should be aware of that and stay alert, stay aware. And, you know, if things aren't happening as you want them to happen in your life right now, it could be they're not supposed to happen.
Right.
I mean, there were things I wanted, and I'm glad they didn't happen. You know?
Okay, I understand.
You understand what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, again, you accept that.
Yes.
You know, and there are things that happen, and you're not sure why they're happening to you. Why are you going through these trials? Why are you got to deal with all this mess and this madness?
Yes.
You know, and it's not until that path takes you onto something else that you look back on it and you go, you know what? If I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
And I spend my time trying to get all you people out there in TV land to say, come out and this place is called now Open Signal. Right?
Yes.
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 And it's changed names from PCM to Open Signal, and that's the signal to all Negro, colored, black, African Americans to get in this place here, learn all you can learn, and probably produce a bunch of shows or start your own show or whatever you personally do. You can be here, doing it here, and broadening your horizon right here. And sometime in the future, you're going to tell me some people are going to come on this show about storytelling, right?
Yeah, I'm working on some storytellers. The one gentleman I told you, he'll tell the story of York, and we're looking at either coming in and doing a show with you, or I have some clips that I shot, because that's one of the things I do is I do videos of storytellers.
Beautiful.
So I might bring in a couple of those, and we can play them at a certain time.
And I look forward to doing that.
Got a very good one of the little girl during the civil rights movement who had to go to the school by herself.
Okay.
Very touching story there. I can't think of her name right now. Excuse my black history.
That's all right.
Okay, but
whatever time and place and time.
You know, it was interesting because it was the storyteller, I believe, was Irish American, and he picked her as his hero.
Okay, great.
Because of what she endured during that time, you know. So there's a story, you know. There's lots of stories there. I'll bring those in. But I think the nice thing is, you can have a voice. You can express yourself.
That's fantastic.
You know, often,
yes.
you know, it wasn't always that was not always the case. You know, my parents grew up in an age where you couldn't express yourself.
That's very true. That's true.
You know, you had no venue to go out and say what you thought about what was happening.
Right.
Especially if you were Black American Negro. My birth certificate says I'm a Negro.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
African American was not a
choice
at that time.
No, it wasn't a choice. My birth certificate said the same thing. Negro. Yes.
But there's we're in a new era now.
Yes.
I always remember my parents, my grandparents, and the things that they struggled and gave me, the things that they had to endure.
Yes.
Because they didn't have a voice. They had to sit in silence sometimes and accept things.
And that's very true. That's true.
But now, now you have an opportunity. you know, regardless of your race, religion, if you have something that you think is important, if you have a message, and like Cecil said,
Yeah.
you know, there's a venue here. You know, I'm leaning towards more education,
Absolutely.
you know, and highlighting, you know, what's happening in education. You know, that's kind of where my voice is starting to take me.
That's beautiful.
You know,
Yes.
as I told you, you know, I will come on the show anytime, you
Yes.
know, and if you need me to do some research, something educational.
I'm greatly thankful
know?
for the things that you've shared with all the people out there in TV land and with me. So you see that Brother Steve is very enlightened to many things, and he has a very broad mind and a very kind heart. And I just want all you people out there to know that you can be in the same position as Brother Steve, and he shared many things. He's saying just take it easy, and many times opportunity will present themselves, but many opportunities aren't the right opportunity. So when the time is right, trust the time is right through your religion or through your blessed spirit, and don't just jump on any and everything. And I'm promoting to you people out there in TV land, quit drinking, smoking, getting high, or doing damage to yourself, or causing your own self ill health, because as time goes on, as you get older, you'll find yourself getting a bad heart and other sicknesses or other things that will take place in your life's travels. So I'm just saying to you out there in TV land, a lot of people know Negro, colored, black, African American, specifically when you got bad teeth, one tooth falls out, maybe 4 teeth right now at this point maybe have already fallen out, and you're not chewing your food correctly or completely, and you just chew, swallow, chew, swallow, and next thing you know, your body is falling into ill health, and you're suffering from eating without properly chewing your food, because most people are supposed to chew it 32 times, and people don't do that, especially when you only got a few teeth left in your mouth. And sometimes people had all their teeth knocked out or then lost teeth through for whatever reason. And I'm just saying, really pay attention to your health and try and help yourself, help other people do what's right. And don't alcohol and drugs or prescription drugs and all this other crap. Pay attention, and if you're taking medication, then do it in a way that hopefully you can communicate with your doctor, and they can tell you exactly what you're taking, how to take it, and to what purpose is this medicine being used for. It's very important, because we as Negro, colored, black, African Americans, sometimes we just take medicine because our doctor's saying take the medicine. But we need to know what we're taking and the purpose of it, and that's very important. I think are we out of time?
We have about 5 more minutes.
Oh, 5 more minutes.
Maybe a little bit more than that.
Okay.
I want to reiterate what you said about inviting people on the show.
Yes.
Write it down. You may not have a voice right now. You may not have something you want to say right now, but there's going to come a time where you or a family member or a close friend is going to say something, and you're going to say, boy, we need to let other people know about that.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
So, you have an opportunity that you can write down: Apostle, Cecil, Hatchett, Open Signal, Portland Community Media, I want to express myself. And when that moment happens, when you or a family member or someone else has something they want to say, something they want to share beyond the family, they want the whole community to know about it, now you have an opportunity that is waiting for you to take advantage of it.
That's very true, absolutely. And there's no big waiting period here to come on this show to speak. The doors are wide open. The show is wide open for you to come and speak your heart. And so if you write the information down so you can remember it at a later date, and then let that information flow past your lips to other people's ears out there in TV land, so that be some great information to get out there to nourish people's minds and hearts. And that's what it's really all about, Brother Steve.
Yep. Yeah.
And I really thank you for coming and being on the show with me for.
Finally, you get me here. This guy has been trying to get me to come out here and talk. And I like producing things.
Yeah.
I'm an educator, but I left that stand up and lecture kids mode a long time ago.
Yes.
I'm very much as a teacher, I was very much in the projects, letting kids get involved, doing things. There's a time to kind of talk and be lectured, but there's a time to encourage people to take action and do things.
Absolutely.
And as a teacher, I like for my students to be engaged and active and learning through that whole process of engagement. It's a direction I think education, it's a direction I know education is going more so now than ever before.
Yes.
And so, I will come out when you need me.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much. I appreciate
you
that.
You just don't know
Steve.
how much it took of me to come out here today, because this is not normally me. I mean, I can
totally
talk.
Happy. Yes.
I can talk. I've been trained to talk in front of an audience, but it's not.
Yes.
It's not something that I readily do. Like many of our producers here, great people, and they're funny. They do have things that I think are important when I listen to the conversations. But we're producers. We want to produce shows that give other people an opportunity to talk. But for Cecil, I came out here today.
Praise God.
And I told him, I said, I have no agenda. You have to ask me questions.
Amen. I hope I did ask you.
Oh, you did. You asked me a few. You got more out of me than I was ready to give, I guess.
Okay. Well,
that's a part of it all. Another thing as a teacher, as an educator, I have to set an example. And if I want other people to come out and talk, then I have to come out and show that I'm willing to do it also.
And which you did, and that was fantastic, and I greatly thank you. Thank you very much, Brother Steve.
Cecil.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I know that you're going to help close my show out, so.
Yeah, I think we're getting close to the end here.
Yeah, right. What has it got, 4 minutes or something
maybe
like that?
maybe a little bit less than that.
Yeah, about 3 minutes, yeah.
Any other last minute questions you got for me? I can't guarantee when I'll be out here again, so you better ask now.
Okay, thank you very much for coming out. And he was going to come out the time when I was talking to Brother Bruce Broussard, and we're going to speak about the people that killed the people on the Max. And finally, you were here today because myself and Brother Bruce Broussard got such an interesting conversation, Brother Steve, that we didn't get a chance to get together.
And that's how it should have been. You guys were on a roll. You had some good things to say, and that's how it should go. I'm flexible. I get that.
I'm very happy you're here. And you're going to be greatly missed, but you'll be back shortly because I'm going to ask you a bunch of more questions in the future. Okay. And you say you don't mind researching information.
Yeah. I do a little bit of research professionally in my day job, and so I've learned to kind of like it. Never thought I would.
Oh, great!
I'm just like everybody else in school. It was a task.
I love it. Yes.
But again, my curiosity gets the best of me, and I'm curious about a number of things. I'm curious about things I never thought I would ever be curious about.
That's okay.
And so I will get down and I will do the research and I will look for good